Hey everyone, I want to tell you about Cozy Earth. It's the world's softest sheets. They keep you cool, dry, and comfy all night long. They're moisture wicking, breathable, and they even get softer with every wash. They have PJ sets. Who can't get behind PJ sets? Valentine's is coming up. Get your wife a pajama set. It's Oprah approved. They have free shipping on orders over $50 and a 100-night sleep trial on those bedding sets and a 10-year warranty. And right now, our listeners get to save 40% off using our code INFOGO at CozyEarth.com. Find the link in the show notes. Luxury, comfort, and cool sleep await you at CozyEarth.com. Welcome to the podcast. I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this Info on the Go.
answering questions you may not want to know.
And this might be one of those things you don't, or yeah, I don't know. But have you ever just stopped and wondered who really invented the toilet? And it's such a great invention. Why don't we really talk about it? Because I mean, every day billions of people sit on it. Have you just ever really stopped to wonder who invented it? I mean, before the toilet, like it was that communal thing in Rome with the terrarium.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's such a critical part of our everyday life. But honestly and truly, where did this invention come from, and why does it carry so much embarrassment?
From ancient clay seats to the high-tech Japanese toilets, the story of the toilet is full of invention, ingenuity, and sometimes really strange ideas.
But before we get into it, have you ever really stopped to think about it?
Probably almost every time I sit down.
I've often wondered. I mean, I know we talked a lot about it in our terracotta episode because we got into a lot of different stuff, but I've often wondered, and how does it actually work too?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about some of the benefits of it. The main one is hygiene. Managing waste has really shaped health and survival throughout history because before, just don't be downriver.
Right. The innovation from the S-traps to flush valves, clever engineering solved age-old problems.
And then there's that taboo. Despite being essential part of our daily lives, toilets are often avoided in conversation, creating humor, myths, and sometimes that social awkwardness.
We're going to get into how toilets went from luxury novelty to everyday necessity and sometimes even a cultural icon.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the ancient toilets, from the Roman sewers, the medieval chamber pots, and early flush designs.
And key figures like John Harington, Alexander Cummings, Joseph Bramah, and Thomas Crapper, plus overlooked innovators.
We're gonna try to go through how societies treated toilets, public hygiene, and bodily functions with embarrassment, humor, or taboo.
Yeah, from some modern implications like water saving designs and smart toilets to global sanitation challenges and gender inequalities.
And at the end, as we like to do here on the show, we're going to really kind of go over some of those quirky patents, celebrity toilets, and just some weird toilet history and innovations that might seem mundane, right?
hmm And so hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll see the toilet not just as a bathroom fixture, but as a fascinating lens into human ingenuity, culture, and yes, a little bit of our embarrassment too.
So let's go back to ancient Mesopotamia, somewhere around 4000 BCE. They used simple clay toilets and ceramic vessels in their homes, kind of like a chamber pot. And evidence of early sewage drains connecting multiple homes to street channels, it's been found. And toilets were often positioned over pits where the waste would be removed manually or washed away. This really indicates a recognition that human waste needed to be managed for health and comfort. it would be an essential job for somebody to remove that waste, but I would really hate to do that job.
It's a dirty job, but it's got to be done.
Where's Micro when you need him?
Right. That's definitely a micro job.
If you're listening, Micro, we love you.
Yes. Oh, okay. Anyway, so we're going to dive into the Indus Valley civilization, and that was around 2500 BCE, Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. The homes had private toilets connected to sophisticated drainage systems. They covered drains, the covered drains ran along streets, allowing wastewater to flow away safely, and some toilets even featured water flush channels, an early precursor to modern plumbing. And that kind of demonstrates the advanced urban planning, hygiene awareness, and communal responsibility that they had.
Yeah, I wonder how that early flushing really worked. I imagine it would be like running water that would just be transitioned through, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, but in ancient Rome, as we promised, um, public latrines were common, often large rooms with stone, marble seats, communal sponges on a stick, that would be dipped in that vinegar and salt. And they were used for cleaning, and they were rinsed in the water channels there. And to really touch on that communal sponge, it's just what it says. It was communal. Everybody used it. And the Cloaca Maxima, it's one of the world's earliest sewers, and it drained wastewater into the Tiber River. Don't be downstream.
Right. That's the whole key component here.
Yeah, and toilets in ancient Rome, they were social spaces. So you would go there like kind of like a meet and greet. And hygiene practices varied widely. Some feared disease and foul smells. Well, I would fear that terrarium.
I would fear the whole situation with my life, my
Yeah, I mean,
whole life, the
I
whole
would probably
chest.
have to bring my
Absolutely not.
own sponge. I would just have to bring my own sponge.
I'll just dig my own hole.
You wouldn't want to go and hang
The
out
whole
with people
thing.
down,
No. Mm-mm.
down
Nope.
there? No?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Did you see the gladiator games yesterday? Sure. Can you pass me that sponge?
Oh, oh, man.
When you get done using that sponge, can I use it over here?
The oof. No, no, I couldn't. I can't. Mm-mm. Talk about people that feared foul smells. I can imagine that that was foul smelling, the whole thing.
There is no way on God's green earth I could have made it in ancient Rome.
Nope. Nope. I like to idealize it because movies and stuff, but nope.
Yeah, it is very romanticized, isn't it?
It is.
They had
Yes.
some really weird traditions too.
And so
They
did
had,
medieval Europe. That's also highly romanticized.
anyway,
Well, human ingenuity and taboo. Across civilizations, people recognize the need to manage waste despite the ick factor, and innovation often sprang from necessity. Dense populations, disease prevention, and comfort. Even with advanced systems, though, sanitation practices were considered private, embarrassing, or even socially regulated.
that's kind of interesting. There was toilet etiquette in some ancient societies, like the Mesopotamians. They had laws about where to urinate, defecate in the city. So you couldn't just do your thing there.
Right, and even Romans had rules about queuing in public latrines and maintaining personal hygiene.
But they would let you use that sponge. That's interesting. But I guess really, honestly and truly, the ancient times there, they thought bodily functions, well, they were normalized but regulated by social norms. So it wasn't so taboo as it really kind of is today, maybe.
Right.
And then so sanitation declined in medieval Europe, and this happened somewhere around the 5th to the 15th centuries. And this was after Rome's fall. Many cities lost centralized sewage infrastructure. People really relied on chamber pots, and they were emptied into the streets or rivers. And this really created some very unsanitary conditions. You know, you would have cesspits, and for those of you that don't know what a cesspit is, it's a hole that is dug behind the home where the waste would be stored, and often it would be poorly maintained. And this would really lead to contamination and foul odors, and more than likely dysentery, as it might seep down into that groundwater too, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you can also hear more about cesspits and some other problems that it caused in our episode of the Great Stink.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Good call out there. Yeah. And then you had open drains and gutters, and these ran along streets, and they were common, but super unhygienic. And this really kind of helped spread disease too. And then urban density and the lack of sanitation and regulations really made cholera, dysentery, and typhoid breakouts. They were frequent.
I can only imagine how real fun that was.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like good times, does it?
No,
But the fall of Rome really kind of pushed the decline of sanitation because the Romans, other than some of their stuff, they figured out how to use sewers to move the wastewater out of the city. Anyway,
for the most part, they were trying to be health conscious,
yeah, minus the
sort of.
sponge. Yeah.
Yeah, the some things, the more you know. Okay. So in 1596, Sir John Harington invented the Ajax, and it was a device that could flush waste with water using a cistern and a valve. And for those that don't know what a cistern is, it's a tank of water positioned above the toilet. And so when you wanted to flush, you opened a valve allowing water to rush from the cistern into the bowl. Kind of like our modern toilets today. Not exactly the same. Same
Yeah,
premise though.
it's same exactly the same premise.
But the water carried the waste away through a drain pipe into a cesspool or sewer. And so think of it as a basic version of the modern toilets we have today.
Yeah, you got the tank, the valve, the water flow, and the removal of the waste. But I have a question. Once you hit that valve and that wastewater goes down in there, all those gases are going to come back up. There's an
Mm,
invention coming, but I'm just saying you got to put this in perspective.
right, it
There
still
was,
stinks real bad. In short, water stored in a tank was released to wash away waste instead of just letting it sit in a pit.
yeah, so one of these Ajax toilets was installed for Queen Elizabeth I at Richmond Palace. And it was viewed as a curiosity and luxury, not really a practical necessity for most people. And there were major concerns about cost, plumbing maintenance, and novelty prevented widespread adoption. I can kind of see some of that, but I mean, it's kind of like the new thing. Is it a fad? Is it going to be here? Is it going to stay? What is the cost behind, maintaining these sewers?
So, what I got from this was you're telling me Queen Elizabeth the First in England was the first queen to have a flushable toilet?
Basically, you know what they did before that, right?
They had chamber pots, yes.
Um, yeah, and in some castles there was this seat with a thing that would run down the wall, and you would have a guy and come that would come and clean it up.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. Didn't I tell you about that in some other episode? We should really do one on castles and how they disposed of
Oof, that's that's got to be a whole episode by
that.
itself.
It's gonna be a very disturbing episode.
Oof. In any case, so there were, of course, social stigma and class issues. Toilets remained a private elite convenience where lower classes relied on shared or open facilities.
Mm.
Mm. Using waste management devices was sometimes seen as shameful or even embarrassing.
I mean, I can get it because you can kind of see where it's starting to get that taboo of, I mean, everybody has to do it. Um,
Right.
but
It's unavoidable, but I don't want people watching me poop either.
yeah, and same, but at the same time,
I understand the like maybe that's one of our basic human instincts, I guess, or animal instincts or whatever, because most animals don't like to be watched going to the bathroom.
This is true. And yeah, and they kind of run off and do their thing. So I can see that right there.
Where were we? Even when flush technology existed, societal norms reinforced modesty, making toilets hidden and discreet. So the gap between public versus private sanitation mirrored wealth and social status, highlighting inequality in daily life.
I'm all for the private sanitation. I'm 100% with you there. My thing is that using management devices, waste management devices, is what I was saying, they thought was shameful or embarrassing, which really shouldn't be because
Right.
you're helping move waste out. So while wealthy households might install early flush devices in private rooms, the majority they still continue to use chamber pots. Public latrines were often dirty, crowded, and avoided by the elite, reinforcing that class divide. Now we're going to get into what we were talking about, keeping those gases from coming back up from that Ajax toilet. And Alexander Cummings in 1775 invented the S-trap, and it was patented as the S-trap. And this was a curved pipe that uses standing water to block sewage gases from entering the home. And if you go look at the back of your toilet, you'll see what we're talking about. And this solved that big problem of early flush toilets where, this was able to control that odor, whereas those early ones were not. It would let that gas come back up. So the S-trap became a foundational element of modern plumbing, and it is still used in toilets today. And this was invented in 1775. I mean, that's, you know, I guess
Huge.
here, yeah, Cummins' invention, it really showed that small engineering tweaks could really dramatically improve daily hygiene and keep that foul odor down?
Right. And that was nearly 200 years later.
Yeah, that was before the Great Stink too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that happened in 1885.
Yeah, so he invented this thing in 1775. So
Crazy. So then Joseph Bramah added his improved design in 1778, and it was a patented, more advanced flushing system, creating a tighter seal and more efficient water flow. It was really focused on durability and usability, making toilets easier to maintain. Brahma also marketed his toilets to wealthy clients, helping sanitation gain prestige.
Thomas Crapper is known for the sanitary plumbing. He improved flush valves and siphon mechanisms, making toilets more reliable and user-friendly, and founded plumbing businesses in London, installed toilets in homes, theaters, and public buildings. And the myth, that we're going to debunk here, Crapper did not invent the toilet, but his name became associated with it due to marketing and cultural memory. Yeah, I've heard the crapper a lot.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the crapper?
Yeah,
Uh,
but hopefully almost everybody has.
I think I would hate for my name to be associated with that, though. I don't know.
Depends on how successful I was.
Sounds like he was extremely successful. I mean, we still talk about him today.
Right. Hey, it's good enough for me.
I mean, what is it? He was 1910 is when he passed away, and we still mention the crapper today.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
There were so moving on, we got some cultural resistance and of course Victorian attitudes. In Victorian society, treated bodily functions as taboo in private, limiting public discussion of sanitation. Many people were suspicious of new toilet technology, fearing expense, maintenance, or novelty, and toilets were really symbols of wealth and discretion. Public awareness of hygiene often lagged behind technological progress. So, humor and euphemisms were used to navigate discussions of toilets in polite society.
Yeah. And early flush toilets were a luxury in middle and upper class homes. Public bath houses and toilets were They were really often avoided by the elite, uh, really kind of due to the smell. But innovations in plumbing slowly helped bridge hygiene gaps, setting the stage for modern and urban sanitation. But let's get into that question of why we don't talk about toilets. And I say before we do that, Kat, I think we should take a break.
Sounds good to me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody, we want to tell you about strong coffee. You know, every morning it starts with a choice. You can settle for just coffee, or you can rise up with strong coffee. And it's the world's strongest cup of joe. You know, strong isn't just a drink, it's a movement. It stands for striving to reach our natural greatness.
It's born from one simple need to be better. They rebuilt coffee from the ground up, infusing organic coffee with collagen, protein, nootropics, and functional ingredients that fuel your body and sharpen your mind. No crash, no compromises, just clean energy, focus, and flavor that fires you up.
Yeah, so whether you're chasing kids, chasing goals, or chasing greatness, you know, don't just do it with coffee, do it with strong coffee. And our listeners can save 20% off just by using our code INFOGO at checkout. Hey, if you're looking for your favorite band or sports team or TV show, check out Old Glory. They've been in operation since 1969 and they have over 300,000 items. You know, they have from the Beatles all the way to Metallica, NFL, NBA. It really doesn't matter what you're looking for. They have tees, hoodies, hats, gifts, everything a true fan could ever want. And it's family owned and operated. They have fast shipping, free standard delivery on every order. And you know what? Our listeners get a 15% off at checkout using our code INFOGO. You can find the link in the show notes. So now that we're back, why don't we talk about toilets? You know, you got that societal embarrassment, you know, dirty talk. It's taboo. Bodily functions have been treated as private, shameful, or impolite for centuries. Well, I mean, you don't really want to do that stuff in front of people, you know, like there's a time and a place for everything. Should I take that out?
No, that's fine.
Okay. People often avoid discussing urination, defecation, or hygiene, even though everyone experiences them. And I can say when we talked about the history of period products, that was kind of uncomfortable doing it. But you know, most women do that, you know?
Yep.
And I guess really honestly and truly, everyone uses a toilet, but few are comfortable talking openly about them. And I'm probably one of those people. I don't want to talk about that. Even to my doctor, I don't want to talk about that, you know?
That's probably the main person you should talk to about it.
Yeah, you know, but I get all of this. Like I think it's instilled now, you know, because
I
it's potty
suppose.
talk.
Yeah, it's dirty.
We should have called this up. We missed a title episode here. Potty talk.
Potty talk. Ugh. In any case, there's also media and literature avoidance. Books, newspapers, and films historically avoided direct discussion of waste, using euphemisms like nature calls or to relieve oneself.
Or I got to go use the crapper.
Right. Gotta go drop the kids off at the pool, it's all kinds of stuff.
The Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
So, right, right. Toilet humor became a safe way to reference the topic indirectly, or slapstick comedy, cartoons, and double entries. So, an example here would be Victorian novels hint at hygiene issues without naming them, reflecting societal discomfort.
Some societies openly discuss sanitation and hygiene, and they really integrate it into education and a part of their daily lives, while others treat it as a shameful or taboo, linking it to modesty, morality, and privacy. You know, I think the differences really affect public restrooms design, you know, sanitation campaigns, and even government policies.
Poor sanitation can lead to cholera, dysentery, typhoid, and other deadly diseases.
I was just going to say, we talked a lot about dysentery in our dysentery episode.
We sure did. We sure did.
We learned a
Uh,
lot about how, improper waste management can really, even in the Great Stink, we talked about that too, right?
yes, because they also had a cholera outbreak. But, all right, despite the health risks, conversation remains minimal, delaying education and improvements. And it raises a paradox. The most life saving technology in human history is also the most avoided topic of discussion. And an interesting fact here, public health campaigns today still struggle with language terms like toilet training or open defecation. They're often softened or euphemized to reduce embarrassment.
But really moving on to what we like to do here on our show is we like to go around the world. World?
The
You know,
whirlpool.
yeah, the whirlpool. Okay. So let's talk about modern toilets. So sitting on toilets, which is the most common way in the Western countries. And this focuses on comfort, accessibility, and ease of use.
So you'll find squatting toilets more common in parts of Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. They promote natural posture for easier elimination and potentially better bowel movement health.
Do you know what this is?
Yes, it's
It's
like a hole in the ground that you squat over.
yes. Okay. Just so our listeners kind of know.
Right.
And then you have water saving designs with dual flush systems and low flush toilets, which they help conserve water and reduce the environmental impact that toilets may have.
Right. And then you got some high-tech innovations, sensor activated flushing, self-cleaning and antibacterial surfaces, and smart toilets with features like automatic lid opening, bidet functions, air drying, and odor control. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I think the first time I saw a self-cleaning toilet, I was mind-boggled.
There's a lot of those in Germany, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So let's get into the global disparities here. According to the United Nations, billions of people still lack access to safe toilets. That's insane.
that's wild. It's been 300 years. Um, Open defecation remains a serious issue in rural and low-income urban areas, increasing risks of disease like cholera and dysentery.
Yeah, I mean, and man, I can't even imagine that.
Me either. Not in today's world.
Yeah, no, not in today's world. There's so much technology that's out there. I think the lack of sanitation contributes to diarrheal diseases, child mortality, environmental contamination. And like you said, the diseases that we talked about, you got cholera, dysentery, typhoid fever, and there's probably a host of other diseases that, you know,
Right.
poor sanitation carries.
Right. And then, of course, the inequities highlight how sanitation is not just a convenience, it's a fundamental public health issue.
But now let's flip that over and let's have a little bit of fun. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. In Japan, toilets may include heated seats, built-in bidets, air dryers, ambient music, and deodorizing systems. Those sound pretty cool to me, especially on those cold mornings.
You're right. That does sound pretty fancy. And,
Could you
air
imagine?
drying and deodorizing.
Could you imagine the ambient music? We're talking about like elevator music here.
Right.
I don't know, man. Some people might fall asleep.
Hey, whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah, but the deodorizing systems, I think that would be pretty cool. That should be
Standard.
standard. Yeah, standard.
So in Europe in general, bidets are standard in many homes and hotels, and that really focuses on hygiene and comfort.
And then you have the luxury toilets, right? And some of these use automated cleaning, night lights, and even personalized settings like heated seats, music, really whatever you're looking for there.
Right. And toilets can even reflect cultural priorities, blending hygiene, comfort, technology, and social norms.
But some cities, like Stockholm and Tokyo, use public smart toilets that monitor usage, detect hygiene issues, and even provide real-time cleanliness updates via apps. How cool is that?
That is pretty cool.
Don't use the 7-Eleven off of the interstate. It's bad.
Right.
Or, hey, go to the, I'm sorry, 7-Eleven, my bad. I don't want to pick on you. Go to the Bucky's.
Oof.
For those that are in the South, you'll understand.
I couldn't even walk in there. It looked so overwhelming. We stopped at one on the way back from Savannah, and I was like, man, I cannot.
There's one close to where I live. It is always insane over there. I tried to, because they have the cheapest gas, and I tried to go over there and get some gas, and like I was like, man, forget this. You could about have a wreck just pulling into the thing.
Yeah. No,
Like
there and for how many gas stations there are there, like gas pumps, it's ridiculous.
it is, it's yeah. But I found that if I go early in the mornings on Sundays or Saturdays, it's easier.
Uh,
Mm,
so
yeah. How did we get on
anyway,
gas station? Oh, I guess cleanliness updates via apps. Hey, if you're a technological person here in the United States, we
let's
need this app.
let's get on this for, management purposes, businesses. Yeah, I would appreciate it.
Family friendly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because you got small ones. You
I,
as a
I have had to do some things in some places I didn't want to do in places.
I remember, when we had small ones, it was like, okay, look, this is probably going to be a little embarrassing for me and you both, but I'm going to hold you up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, no, or rather, just change my kid's really bad diaper in the back of my car than use anything I have nearby.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, let's
Oof.
get back on track.
Anyway, so let's explore some of this. I am curious. Okay. You got smart sensors where toilets have sensors that track how often they are used and whether they need cleaning.
Hmm. Some toilets detect unsanitary conditions like overflow, blocked drains, a lack of soap or paper. I think that's a big one. Man,
Hmm.
if there's a sensor in there for the paper, what was it? That Seinfeld episode where Elaine's like using the toilet and she wants one square.
Oh, right.
And the lady's like, no, I cannot, I don't have a square to spare. Anyway,
Uh, then you have real-time updates where data is sent to an app or public dashboard so maintenance teams know immediately when cleaning or repairs are needed.
yeah, I mean, especially for those public toilets.
Hmm.
Um, Then you have that user convenience where visitors they can check in advance for which toilets are available, clean, fully stocked, which doesn't sound like much, but that can really improve public hygiene and really reduce wait times inside those long lines, especially for the women's bathrooms. My
Do you
wife
know
and daughter sometimes have to stand in line for like an hour, and it's like,
forever?
yeah.
That would be awesome in the airport.
Or yeah, and well, the Atlanta airport, you can kind of move around, but some of these other airports that I've been in and out of, no, no, they definitely need something like that.
Hmm. Oof. In short, some toilets use technology to monitor usage, detect problems, and communicate status in real time to improve cleanliness and accessibility.
Yeah, and I think all of that would, if you're using that, it would be efficient for the reducing the manual inspection of having somebody go look, which could really reduce the maintenance cost too, right?
Yes, I highly encourage some major corporations to get on board this train.
But let's go back to that women in public sanitation for just a moment. Historically, women have had limited access to public toilets, especially in workplaces, schools, and transportation hubs. Lack of lack of facilities led to health issues. And then you would be would cause absence from work or school and really just kind of build on that social discomfort. Okay.
There were some campaigns in the 19th to 20th centuries that pushed for ladies' toilets in public spaces, marking an early fight for equality. And safety concerns. Women-only restrooms reduce risk of harassment or assault in public areas. And of course, the modern considerations include menstrual hygiene management and inclusive facilities for all genders.
So think about what we just said. Before the 19th, well, somewhere before the 20th, in between the 19th and 20th century, there really wasn't a whole lot of women's bathrooms.
So we just had to share bathrooms with everybody.
Well, either that or just hold it and go home.
Right.
How crazy is that?
I mean, mm, I'm not surprised. I cannot say that I'm surprised.
Yeah, true, true. Historically, wealthy households had private flush toilets, while the poor really relied on those chamber pots, public latrines, or just basically open spaces wherever they could go.
Right. And poor sanitation contributed to higher disease rates in lower income communities.
And today, disparities persist globally. Wealthier nations enjoy modern sanitation, while billions in developing regions still lack safe sanitation when it just comes to that daily function.
Right. And urban inequalities are reflected in toilet availability, cleanliness, and maintenance, highlighting ongoing social inequities.
And today, urban planning and modern privacy concerns, well, they really reflect the public restrooms, you know, accessibility, convenience, and gender segregation.
And privacy concerns really influence the designs. You have the stalls, doors, partitions, and signage to aim to protect users.
And there's innovation designs now that consider transgender, disabled, and family needs, really reflecting the evolving social awareness.
Now, of course, we have some interesting facts. Some cities have experimented with all gender self cleaning or automated toilets to address space, hygiene, and equality simultaneously.
So all gender toilets are designed for anyone to use, regardless of gender, reducing that long wait lines and promoting inclusivity. So, the guys would have to get in line with the women there, I guess.
hmm And self cleaning toilets. After each use, the toilet automatically cleans the bowl and sometimes the floor, keeping the facility hygienic with minimal human intervention. And I love that.
I do too, because some of those guys, they can't aim.
Some 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 women don't aren't housebroke either. So
Oh, okay. How about this? People in general, some of them do not have good aim. So, is that better?
that'd work.
Okay. And then you have those automated toilets that include features like sensor activated flushing, soap dispensers, hands-free doors to improve sanitation and convenience. Oh, I like that one. Hands-free doors.
Right. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But the purpose of these innovations is to help save space, maintain hygiene, and provide equal access to all users, addressing challenges in crowded public areas and promoting public safety and comfort.
So the musical toilets have a built-in music or sound effect to mask noises or basically entertain users. That's interesting. That's actually kind of funny.
Airplane toilets are designed to work under low pressure and zero gravity with vacuum suction systems to prevent spills and odors.
That's the same as on a cruise ship too. Space toilets, they're complex engineering to handle microgravity, recycling urine into water, and containing solid waste safely for astronauts.
Oof.
You didn't know that the urine was recycled into water?
I know about it. I know about the process, but to it, almost be so close to that process all the time is kind of not on my wish list.
I got you. And Mighty Python sketches often parody toilets, plumbing mishaps, and bodily functions using absurdity to bypass, well, the taboo.
Uh,
and
cla-
they're hilarious.
they are hilarious. And classic cartoons and comic strips feature slapstick toilet humor to elicit laughter safely.
Yeah, and then euphemisms like going to powder one's nose, which that's kind of an old one, you know?
Hmm.
Or answering nature's call, or hey, I gotta hit the crapper, going to see the Browns at the bowl, or gotta go whatever. But these all of these have really kind of just allowed for a polite conversation about toilets without really offending or going against the social norms, I guess is what I'm trying to say there.
But, toilet humor remains popular because it's relatable, universal, and taps into taboo topics.
And it is funny because some people come up with some pretty good ones, you know?
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah. So some historical oddities. The solid gold toilet. Some luxury estates and museums have toilets made of gold, reflecting wealth and extravagance. You got money to burn when you got a gold toilet.
Some high profile figures have had uniquely designed or custom toilets, sometimes displayed in museums or exhibitions.
Cities like Kiev in Ukraine and New Delhi in India have museums dedicated to toilets, plumbing history, and sanitation innovations. Those would be unique places to go.
Right. These oddities highlight how an everyday object can become a cultural icon, status symbol, or a source of fascination. Some historians argue that the flush toilet and sewer systems rank among the most important inventions in human history, rivaling electricity or the printing press in impact on daily life and mortality.
I would say that is probably the greatest impact because think of all those diseases, poor sanitation that would lead to.
Explosions.
Yeah, just for cat, let's go back to some space toilets here. Astronauts use specially designed toilets in microgravity, which use a vacuum suction and sometimes recycle the urine into drinking water. Early space missions struggled with leaks and sanitation disasters, and some astronauts had to improvise with bags.
Oh, there's even some patents that exist today for toilets that speak reminders or provide hygiene instructions.
I know we're going to do an episode on toilet paper as a whole, but the first recorded use of toilet paper was in the 6th century China, and it was used by emperors.
And in medieval Europe, people used leaves, hay, moss, or even catalog pages from books.
I've
So
often heard that the Sears catalog was used for that.
it just reminds me of Shrek in the beginning of the movie when he uses the fairy tale book page.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
I know the Muffin Man.
That is absolutely the funniest part of that movie.
There's so many funny parts of that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. You will never prove me wrong. I will watch it a bajillion times before I get tired of that movie.
And then just to wrap it up here, the longest toilet delay was in Victorian England, and women often had to wait hours for a public toilet, while men had more immediate access, really highlighting the gender inequalities in sanitation.
Oof.
Hours. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do that. I would have to go find an open space.
There would be something had to give. There ain't no way.
I know it was about toilets, but I found it to be extremely interesting, and I found it to be kind of, funny too.
Me too.
I don't even remember where this one came from. Do
I
you?
mean, we did plumbing and a couple of other things, so I think it was just on our shopping list after those episodes.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Really all I've got.
Yeah, where did toilets come from? You can talk about that this holiday season.
Yeah, do you know what the number one item sold in around the holidays is?
No way.
A toilet plunger.
No way.
Oh yeah, look it up. It's one of the top 50 for sure.
Wow.
And it's one of those because you have all those guests coming over in some houses or apartments where they're all at really are not equipped for all of those guests and all of that traffic.
That's true. That's true. Well,
Anyway, that's a little factoid for you.
factoid. In any case, if you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
Yeah, if you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so by supporting our sponsors or clicking the Patreon link in the show notes.
And as always, William and I want to thank you for listening.
Whether you've been with us from day one or just tuning in, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go.
Over there, you can share with us your show ideas.
Or ask us a question.
Follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
It really does help others find us. You can also email us at
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
And yes, that is all one word, but that email link is in the show notes. Till next time.
Stay curious.